Mic check 1 2. Mic check 1 2 3 4 5 6 7. Okay. All right. So just hold tight. We don't have the official tornado warning yet. It's coming soon. Jacob is live in Winona right now, and can zero back a live shot to us if we need to, but he doesn't have audio, so it would just be video. So just heads up on that. And at this point, the tornado warning for Carroll and Montgomery has been issued, so we can go ahead and start our coverage on TV as soon as you guys can round it up back there in production.
This is a WCBI First Alert Severe Weather Update.
Hello and good evening, friends. I'm WCBI TV Chief Meteorologist Keith Gibson. As expected, we do have some severe weather coming on into our region right now. We have a new Doppler radar indicated tornado warning. This is for Carroll and Montgomery counties until 8:30. So a pretty long tornado warning in the grand scheme of things. This does include the city of Winona. If you are in Winona, in Vaden areas here in western Montgomery County or eastern Carroll County, you need to get into your tornado safety zone. At this point, the storm is Doppler radar indicated tornado potential. But as we inspect the storm for the next couple of minutes here with our coverage, you'll be able to see it looks like it could be more of a wind threat, but we'll just see how this all goes. Again, this is Doppler radar indicated. It is moving off to the northeast at 45 miles per hour. So before we do anything else, let me do a quick storm track on this storm cell as it continues moving to the northeast at 45 or so. And that will take it into Carrollton by 7:37, Vaden by 7:45, and basically the same time here for Winona, too, as we extrapolate it out. So in the next 20 to 25 minutes, there's going to be a line of very strong storms that will be coming your way. At this point, skies are very dark. They're lowering most likely across the western part of our coverage area. Very heavy rains coming on in. And let me just show you where we do have the fastest moving wind with this storm. That is our shear rate. So whenever we show this on TV, this is where we have the most extensive likelihood of seeing some of that damaging wind potential. And at this point, from, let's just say, the Sidon community, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, to just east of Lexington right there, that is the strongest part of the storm. It is now moving into southeastern parts of Carroll County, and for reference, there is Winona right there. So as we do a little distance tracker here, this is about 20 miles southwest of Winona is where we have this fast-moving wind, and that could be some wind speed between 40 and 60 miles per hour here. So that is the strongest part of the storm. Do we see any part of the storm that could be producing a tornado? Well, hard to tell. We're scanning pretty high in the sky, but there could be some elevated rotation right there east of the Kruger community there. Again, we'll be watching out for that green and red couplet type situation to, let's just say, get a little bit closer, maybe get a little bit tighter as we go through time. That is our storm relative velocity here. So that area of concern right there, southwest of Winona, about 20 miles. So back to the radar we go. You can see how it's right there, right along the county line here as we get into the southern part of Carroll County. So let me clear that off real quick, and you'll be able to see the bigger picture here. Duck Hill, Winona, Vaden, you need to be in your tornado safe zone right now. The sky is very dark. We're now past sunset here, so things are getting darker and darker now that we're losing the daylight. There's not intense lightning and thunder in this, but there is some visible activity. And I think we have meteorologist Jacob Dickey's live feed pulled up here. He is live in Winona right now, and that's a live view from Montgomery County there in Winona. Again, meteorologist Jacob Dickey. And we will continue to watch the western horizon here. I've noticed some lightning flashing there on our camera here before we took it here. And usually when we take sources like this, as soon as we get the visual to pop, we lose the lightning. So we will continue to monitor this. He's right along US 82. At this point, the storm is coming his way. So those of you back in the control room or back in the news department, if you're watching, trying to communicate with him. I'm going to try to do so here on my end, but we're kind of tied up here on the weather side. So Jacob's out there in Winona. We're watching this storm cell come on in. That is why we are interrupting your programming right here on WCBI TV. So we're coming on 7:30. And this is why we are on the air. We have a potential for some damaging straight-line wind and maybe even an isolated tornado this evening. This tornado watch does include areas along I-55. It goes all the way to Lee County for Tupelo and Lowndes County for Columbus, Monroe County for Aberdeen and Amory. Does not include any of West Alabama. Does not include Noxubee County. It does not include Lafayette County. So we basically have this small little chunk of thunderstorm activity, this little line that is marching into our coverage area. And the most intense part of it is right there. It's not going to be too wide, but notice how it's coming on in from the southwest, and it's going to be going to the northeast. So if you were watching, let's just say southeast of Starkville, or maybe back to the northwest of Bruce or Calhoun City, you may not see too much in the way of rough weather, but somewhere in the midsection of our coverage area for the next couple of hours, that may hold together as we just follow this for the next few hours here. Again, this tornado warning goes for the next hour. This is a very long tornado warning for eastern Carroll and western Montgomery County. The storm is going to be well east of these areas by 8:30. But we will stay on the air as long as there's a tornado warning in our coverage area. And Jacob's out there in Winona, so we'll be the first to report anything that happens as it comes on into the city of Winona. So just stay tuned for updates on that here at WCBI. And we're also doing our simulcast on Facebook Live here on our WCBI Facebook channel too, so you can stay connected. The greatest volume of lightning is actually here southwest of Lexington. That is just southwest of our coverage area. So it's always interesting to monitor where the most intense lightning is. Usually that illustrates where there's a stronger storm core that can produce maybe some stronger wind. So we'll keep monitoring that. There's just not a lot of cloud-to-ground lightning in this activity here west of Winona. You are definitely going to get some very heavy rainfall here. And as we go on and throw on our triple threats here, basically we've got some heavy rain west of Winona, perhaps a little bit of small hail with some of that here southwest of Winona. The better chance for some of these stronger or bigger sizes, I guess you could say, as far as the hail is concerned, would be down here south and west of Durant, where we are getting indications of maybe some quarter-size hail and some of those stronger cores that obviously have more in the way of lightning here. You can see more lightning, probably a taller storm, better chance for some hail growth. But that is just southwest of our coverage area. So let's go back to our shear rate and clear off some of this stuff. And you can see a couple of different segments of some fast-moving wind. Again, now moving into southeastern Carroll County, that is a line of very gusty wind, and also there west of the Goodman community there, northwest of Pickens, right along and west of I-55. These storms are coming in from the southwest, and it looks like we have a new severe thunderstorm warning for this area that does now include Kosciuszko until 8:15. So a couple of different things going on here. The green illustrates where we have some fast-moving wind. Again, that could be some wind speeds up to 60 miles per hour. So Durant, Goodman, Kosciuszko, you are now under a severe thunderstorm warning until 8:15. And again, for eastern Carroll and Montgomery County here, including Winona, a tornado warning until 8:30. This is Doppler radar indicated tornado potential here, but we will continue to follow this as we go throughout the course of the evening. If you have any reports to pass along to us as we go throughout the course of this next couple of hours, do so on our Facebook and Twitter, also weather@wcbi.com. Here's a radar picture. Still a long ways out from the city of Columbus. This is a long ways away. And these storms are moving about 45 to 50 miles per hour, so this is still 65 miles west and southwest of Starkville, so this would be about an hour and a half from now, so probably about 9 before we would have any chance for a strong storm in Starkville, assuming these storms hold together at their current speed, and past 9, maybe 10 by the time we get to Columbus. Let me switch on our Columbus radar site, and this is a little bit different perspective. So we can see that we do have some rain out here towards Oxford and Ripley, New Albany, Holly Springs, Water Valley, moving into Bruce. All of this is just some steadier rain. As I pop on the lightning count here, there's some embedded thunder and lightning in this. This is not severe. So yes, you're getting some very heavy rain. This may add up to several inches as we go throughout the course of the night. This is that heavy rain that is now moving on in. But this is not what we're really concerned about. What we are concerned about is the southern part of the line right here now moving into Winona. Jacob is there live. We are waiting. We're going to go back to him at some point. And all right, Jacob's going to try and get to us verbally here at some point. So we'll be on standby for that. But he's going to be reporting as this rain comes on in. It's probably going to be some what we call horizontal rain with some fast-moving wind as this thunderstorm complex comes on in. Now, this radar site is from Monroe County, and we are scanning pretty high in the sky right here. We're scanning at about 8,000 feet. So I'm going to switch back on to our Jackson site, Jackson radar site. That's a little bit closer. We're scanning down here to about 2,500 feet. So we're much, much closer to the base of the thunderstorm here looking at our Jackson radar site. So at this point, we're looking at Doppler radar indicated tornado warnings now. That does include southeastern Carroll and part of western Montgomery County. These storms are moving to the east at about 40 to 45 miles per hour. And I'm going to do another storm track on this activity here. So this is the shear rate. This is where we would expect the fastest most destructive wind if we're going to get it. And I'm going to do a little track on this, northeast at about 40 to 50 miles per hour right here. And that would take it into Winona by 7:55 right there, by Vaden about 7:48. So areas east of Winona here sometime after 7:50. Just be aware that would include Kilmichael, and eventually, if it does hold together, parts of Webster and Choctaw counties as well here as we go throughout the next couple of minutes and next couple of hours actually here. So that's the current storm track on that. Long ways away from the Golden Triangle area, long ways away from Tupelo. We really have nothing to fear at this point in the Golden Triangle area. These storms could actually weaken a little bit as they move closer and closer to the eastern part of our coverage area. So right now we're just kind of in babysit mode to see exactly what comes out of this. But this is the most intense activity now is moving into the vicinity around Winona. Just to your west, there's I-55 for reference. Highway 35 in eastern Carroll County, US 82. We got Jacob right there. I think, okay, we got Jacob live in the field. Jacob, what do you got?
Hey, Keith, we are in Winona right now at I-55 and US 82. There's a Holiday Inn Express is right next to us. Behind us is the McDonald's in town. We do a little bit of rain right now falling in Winona. We did hear the tornado sirens going off in town. That's a good thing because the storm is coming for us. I'm sure on the live feed stream right now you can see there is some lightning that is occurring in the air. We've been watching those flashes off to our west and to our south. So we're going to be keeping an eye on this as it moves off to the north and to the east here. I think probably about 10 or 15 more minutes or so before we will be heading back to the east to get ahead of this storm. But we're definitely seeing the lightning off to our south and our west, and we'll be keeping an eye here for you, Keith.
Still hear me that the fastest moving wind is about 16 miles to your southwest. So you still got a little bit while to watch the heavy rains coming your way right now. So you may want to start moving east a little bit sooner than later just to get out ahead of it as you were mentioning there. So that was meteorologist Jacob Dickey live in the field there in Winona. There's another live view here. There's some cloud-to-cloud lightning going on out there, some cloud-to-ground lightning as well. Heavy rain now moving into Winona. And this is one of those dicey type situations where we do have the onset of night. We have a tornado warning in effect. It's hard to see anything, especially if we don't have the sky lit up like a Christmas tree with a lot of lightning. So we do have a couple of flashes. Again, this is all Doppler radar indicated, so it's always better to be safe than sorry. And if you do live out here from Carrollton to Winona down to Vaden, you may want to be in your tornado safety zone, your basement, your storm shelter, interior rooms away from windows. That's where you need to be in these kind of situations, especially at night, especially when you just don't know exactly what could be out there, because there's some wooded terrain out here. Some spots are hilly, some spots you can't really see much until the storm is basically on top of you. So again, as we check out some of our velocity product here, this is basically staying southwest of Winona right now. This is where we have the best chance, somewhere in here. If we're going to get a tornado, it's going to be down here, but this is southwest of Winona, but that's where we have the fastest moving wind as you can see right here, this product we show you the wind shear rate. This essentially just takes a lot of that noise away. And you can really clean up where we have the fastest moving wind right now. So as of the last scan, we're along Highway 430 west of Vaden, for reference here. And that is a good 15 miles southwest of Winona. There's the updated scan. So 15 miles southwest of Winona, some fast moving wind along and just east of Mississippi Highway 17 in southeastern Carroll County. And there's highway, for reference, Highway 430 right there. So 14.7 miles southwest of Winona is where we have, as of the last scan, the fastest moving wind. And that kind of, that really does correlate where we have the greatest amount of reflectivity here. So we always have to assume that the fast moving wind is probably even faster than what we're displaying. So when we show you the shear rate right here, let's just extrapolate this out a little bit more and just assume it's back to the east and northeast of where that green is, just due to the radar update cycle and the speed of the storm. So storm's moving to the east at about 45, 50 miles per hour. Let me go in and get another update from our chat to see if we do have any new information to report. Again, this is Doppler radar indicated moving across our region. Again, no new updates here. The storm down towards Attala County, that could also produce some wind speeds up to 60 miles per hour, maybe some hail too, as we mentioned. So that is moving to the northeast at 50. So the best hail potential is now south and west of Durant, it would appear, with that complex right there where we have the vivid flashes. And real quick, if we can go over to our Lynx 1 system real quick. I want to pop this up. Take that full. I got to go over and manipulate this a little bit. I want to do a little 3D analysis here for you so we can see where these heavier cores are. And the heaviest core that could be producing the hail is in and around the Durant area right there. So that is our 3D storm analysis. If you can make that out as we come on back, and you can pop me up here at some point if you can. All right, there we go. Now we can bring up our other graphics system. And I just want to point out a couple of features here. The taller storm structure right there, sometimes over 35,000 feet. There's Yazoo City, and it's essentially over Durant, but all of that red right there is that deep core of perhaps some hail. So that's where the best hail potential is. So let's go back to our other graphic system, our Lynx 2 system here. And that is just south of our coverage area. We're really on the air here because we do have this tornado warning just north of that hail core. And this is now moving into the city of Winona. And I'm going to do another look at the shear rate. We'll do another storm track here. Moving off to the northeast at about 45 miles per hour. And that's going to take it into Kilmichael by 8:05 right there. So again, it's Winona, you're dancing with the devil here, very close to where we have the fastest wind right now. Vaden, Winona, these areas here east of Highway 17, and by, let's just say, 8:05 in the Kilmichael area. And this tornado warning is just a very lengthy warning. This goes until 8:30 this evening. So that's the updated scan right there, meshing where we've just drawn that storm track. So anywhere in those areas here, including areas along Highway 35 and 407 and along 82 east of Winona. So these areas are the most in line, let's just say right here, for the greatest wind potential going forward for the next couple of minutes. And that would be this general vicinity here that we're outlining in the circle here. That would include the Poplar Springs community, Kilmichael, Winona, down to Baden, and the Beatty community right up in there. So those areas need to be in your safe zone right now. Tornado warning, Doppler radar indicated. Let me go in and check out the latest information. Okay, the Weather Service in Jackson has canceled the tornado warning for Holmes County, so that was just off to our southwest. We still have this tornado warning that continues for our area until the bottom of the hour of 8 o'clock, 8:30. And, all right, the severe thunderstorm warning for Attala and Holmes County will continue as well until 8:15. Again, that is because of that heavy hail core. We're waiting for an updated statement regarding that storm near and just south of Winona right now. Meteorologist Jacob Dickey and family. He's got his folks down here, and they're out storm chasing tonight. They're now moving east of that storm, so we've lost their signal. We'll get back to them as soon as we can at some point. But he's trying to get out ahead of the storm. And let me just clear this off and just animate. This is the last 30 minutes. So you can see, if you're watching us here on WCBI TV, this is what's going on. We have a big complex of showers and storms. The heaviest hail core down there near Durant. And we have some wind energy now up here near Winona coming into Montgomery County. It doesn't take too much wind, maybe 30, 40 mile per hour wind gusts to topple over some trees and maybe cause some power outages. So just be aware of that. Out here, maybe getting into southeastern parts of Grenada County a little bit here sooner than later. You are not technically in a warning in Grenada County. And if you're watching here in western Webster and parts of northwestern Choctaw County as well, and even northeastern parts of Atala County, I know some of you may get us over the air, you need to be online, be on guard too, because of some wind and even a chance for some of this large hail that could be down here with some of this activity back down to the southwest. And this line goes all the way down towards Vicksburg. But the only warnings we have in place right now are for these areas here, the northern part of this activity. And actually, I got to tell you, we've been looking at some of these high-resolution computer models for all afternoon, and every time we got an updated version of it, it was doing a pretty good job of what's actually happening right now, picking up on a little line segment here and taking it across our coverage area and then weakening it by 11 or midnight. Now, it's 7:45, so we'll see if it actually weakens by 11 or midnight, but right now it's matching up quite well to what we were looking at earlier behind the scenes when we were putting the forecast together today. And at this point, I think we may be in fairly good shape as far as that's concerned later on. So again, if you're just tuning on in here, and if I'm interrupting your programming here on WCBI, it is because we do have a Doppler radar indicated tornado warning that does include the eastern part of Carroll County and western parts of Montgomery County until 8:30. This is a long ways away from the Golden Triangle area, and there's nothing happening in Columbus or Starkville or Westport or Aberdeen right now. You will see rain later tonight. You will see probably a gusty thunderstorm at some point. If nothing else, definitely some very heavy rain later this evening and tonight. Same story up in Tupelo too. We don't have a lot of action going on in these areas, but this big mass of rain with some embedded thunder, lightning, and wind is moving east at about 45 to 50 miles per hour, and it's just a matter of time before we get it. Now, we remain under a tornado watch for these areas highlighted in yellow. That does include Tupelo, that does include Columbus and Starkville and West Point, all the way back to I-55. This goes until midnight, or until 11 o'clock tonight, until 11 o'clock. This evening. So a lot of this stuff will be wrapping on up before the end of this evening. So that's certainly good news. It does not look like this is going to be one of those extended duration, all-night type situations for us. So we'll get the storms coming in now, and if we're lucky, they'll weaken before midnight, and we can go to bed and have a peaceful night of sleep, hopefully. All right, so here's the current situation. Let's go back to our shear rate, and we're losing on a positive note, we may be losing some of the strongest wind signature here on the northern side of this, where the tornado warning was issued. But let me go back to our Jackson site. Okay, yeah, we're still getting that signature. We were using a different radar site there. So we're still getting that wind signature right here. So basically, some very strong wind coming on into Vaden right now, right along I-55, right along Highway 35. There's the updated scan. And as I mentioned earlier, we can almost assume that is probably a few miles north of where that green is being depicted right now. So between Vaden and Winona, somewhere in here, near the Fultz community there, in far southwestern parts of Montgomery County. Bad down the hatches here. We're likely going to get some very strong wind, maybe between 40 and 60 miles per hour. And as far as the tornado potential here, it does not look like we have a good signature as far as an actual confirmed or even radar indicated tornado at this point. It looks like more of a wind threat. Just looking at the signature here and looking at our velocity data here. So a side note here, you can almost see where that fast moving wind is just bowing out and just racing out of this thunderstorm right here. So we have that little demarcation between that solid red and even some of those broken colors right there. That just illustrates where we have some of this fast-moving wind, but our shear rate here, that really just cleans it up. So on the leading edge, right there, there's a wall of very heavy rain and lightning and some very strong wind. And some of that strong wind can topple some trees and cause some power outages, maybe some roof damage. So just be aware tonight, even after the storms pass, if you're driving around, there could be some trees down, some power lines down. Obviously, you don't want to be anywhere near a down power line. That could be some ongoing concern as we go throughout the course of the overnight hours. And that matches up quite well where we have the highest color here, the reflectivity, the brighter reds and oranges and purples and even the blacks there. That's illustrating where we have the strongest storm cells. And let's go over to our other computer real quick, our Lynx 1 system. I want to show you that hail core again. And there is Durant right here, and there is that big mass of what is likely some very large hail, or at least some hail, not extremely large hail like what we had last Monday across the region, but hail larger than maybe the size of a quarter in some of this. And we need a quarter-size stone to prompt a severe thunderstorm warning. So pretty good signature of at least some hail on that. That again near Durant. Let's go back over to our Lynx 1 system here. And again, that matches up quite clearly where you see some purples and some black. And that's where we have most of the lightning actually. So the better hail potential is to our south, but we are still looking at this wind situation here that is now moving into the city of Winona. And parts of eastern and Carroll and parts of southern Montgomery County. This tornado warning continues for these areas here that we are outlining in this flashing polygon. So areas basically along 82 and south, you should be in your tornado safety zone right now. That does include Kilmichael, Poplar Springs, Fulch. You're basically under the gun right now. So these areas here, we are most concerned as we continue to investigate the situation. Now, as of the last scan too, some of the higher hail and even the wind shear signatures were coming in down to the south. Looking at some of our threats here, where we have some of the wind shear, the red right there. So we can look at a couple of different features here as we go throughout the course of our storm tracking analysis here tonight. So that is what we're dealing with. Not too much going on in the eastern part of our coverage area. We have this one part of this thunderstorm here near Winona moving northeast at about 45 to 50 miles per hour. And this is the last 30 minutes here. And this activity continues to move on in from the west. And this, until it weakens, we're going to be on the air for you here as we go throughout the next couple of minutes. So let me go and check out our new information. So updated statement, the tornado warning continues for Carroll and Montgomery counties. Again, this is a Doppler radar indicated tornado 8 miles west of Winona, moving northeast at 35. So basically picking up on that line of wind that we've been trying to track here with our shear rate. So this is now moving a little bit slower at about 35 miles per hour. Still not getting a good signature of any potential rotation with this thunderstorm at this point. But again, Doppler radar indicated potential here. Meteorologist Alex Puckett is in-house right now, and feel free to chime in, Alex, when you get a chance.
Yeah, Keith, this is clear as mud this evening. Unfortunately, with the radar signatures we're getting, it got sort of that straight line wind look to it. And certainly some gusty winds right now pushing towards Baden, Winona, Kilmichael. Here within the next few minutes, going to see some high winds with this thing as well.
Okay. Okay, so we'll get Alex's mic situation all situated here, but as he was saying, I don't know if you could hear him on my mic here, but we are scanning at, let's see, we're scanning a good 5,800 feet above the surface. That's a good mile above the surface from Jackson, and our Columbus radar is picking up on even higher elevation, but with our Columbus radar, we're actually picking up on at least some elevated rotation here down towards Durant. So that perhaps is even the stronger storm at this point. It looks like that is the case. Just looking at the 3D analysis there, And again, that has a BTI value of 2.8, so maybe that's a little bit stronger illustration of a storm than it is, but we're scanning very high up in the atmosphere. So just let me know if we got Alex's mic situation all established here, and then we can go over and do a little back and forth. But we got Jacob out in the field. He's trying to get out ahead of this stuff so he's well positioned, because it's not wise to do any of this chasing at night if you don't know what you're doing. Alex, what do you got?
Yeah, Keith, just sort of chime in here. These radar signatures today are going to be clear as mud. This is one of these sort of squall line kind of events where it's going to be muddy looking on radar. It's going to be hard to see what's going on. Certainly some gusty straight line winds. The wind signature certainly there on the velocity product where we see those reds next to the greens. They're not tight together. They're spread out. They're broad. And typically when we see that, the biggest threat is going to be strong straight line winds. Certainly some high winds pushing through Vaden, Winona. We don't want anybody traveling on State Highway 407 or Highway 82 right now. Basically from Carrollton back down to Kilmichael. Really rough travel there, and probably a little bit further east than Kilmichael, in fact, as some high winds starting to push in towards State Highway 407. Again, this is going to be hard to parse out. You're not going to hear us call individual cities today and say this is where we think the tornado is, because these rotations are just too broad for that. I will say we have noticed that the storm to the south may be looking a little bit more impressive in the reflectivity. You see some deeper purples and blacks there. We'll pop on the Barron button and you can see some of those purples and blacks indicating maybe the potential for some hail there. We'll see how that all works out. The Barron button indicating maybe some higher winds back in that northern storm where we got the tornado warning. It's going to be hard to pick up any individual rotation at this point, but for a couple of reasons here, one of which being that we are, as Keith has pointed out, we're sort of between radars here. Once you get into Carroll and Montgomery counties, we're sort of split between Jackson and the Columbus Air Force Base radar, and we're not particularly close to either one. We're looking at this one from Jackson right now, which is giving us a little bit better view, especially when it comes to these velocity products. But we'll pop on the shear rate. That tells the picture maybe a little bit better, where typically if we're seeing a tornado, or if we're looking for a strong tornado signature, we're looking for a dot or something like that, these sort of tight signatures. Instead, we've got this bow look. And when we see that, typically the indication is the biggest threat, at least, is strong straight line winds. Now, having said that, we can't rule out a brief spin up out along this leading edge of the storm, but the biggest threat in this storm continues to be strong straight line winds. I will say that for western Mississippi, as much rain is on the way, we will likely see some flash flooding. Flash flood warning back down towards Yazoo City and extending just to the north and east of Vicksburg. So over in Yazoo County, potential for some flooding there. We may see some more flash flood warnings issued before all is said and done today, especially along that I-55 corridor where we're going to see a lot of heavy rain. We do, again, have this tornado warning in effect. That goes for Carroll and Montgomery counties until 8:30. Time right now, 7:57. So we'll be with this for probably another 30 minutes. Again, it's not the most impressive storm you'll ever see on radar in northeast Mississippi, but we do have the potential for that quick spin up, and for that reason, the Weather Service is going to keep that tornado warning going.
Yeah, Alex, real quick, I just want to say we are going to stay on the air here because this is a tornado warning for a coverage area per station policy. We will be on the air for any tornado warned storm in our coverage area. Everyone is important in our coverage area. We are getting folks reporting that they want to see their regular programming. We apologize for that. But let me just tell you that a tornado warning situation, especially at night, even though this is Doppler radar indicated, we're trying to get the information out there, and this warning goes until 8:30. It is now 7:58. I'm Chief Meteorologist Keith Gibson. That was Alex Puckett. We got meteorologist Jacob Dickey out in the field, too. I'm going to go over to Scott Martin. He has some new information to report from Montgomery County. Just chime on in, Scott. What do you got out there?
Yeah, Keith, we spoke with officials in Montgomery County as well as the Winona Police Chief. Now, the Winona Police Chief there said they haven't had any wind or anything like that. Now, we did speak with one official who said that crews are responding to a light pole fire just west of the Kilmichael area. I asked if this could have been something to do with lightning. That's been undetermined at this time. The crews are responding to that as well. Also, meteorologist Jacob Dickey, he's saying that the power is out in Kilmichael. So with that fire that crews are responding to, it could be something to do with that. We'll continue to work the phones back there in the newsroom to get more information as we can.
Okay, appreciate this, guys. And let's go to Jacob in the field. I think we may have him. Hold on up. Give me a thumbs up or thumbs down. I think we got it. Okay, Jacob, what do you got out there?
Hey, Keith, I'm not sure if you can see our live stream now. We're just on the east side of Kilmichael. There's a Dollar General and a couple other buildings there that should have power on, but it is pitch black in town. So I think the thing to realize here is that if you know people in Kilmichael, it might be best to give them a text to let them know what's going on. Because their TV's not working, they're not getting that information. This text can't help get the information of the gusty winds and that possible tornado that could be heading that way. Other than that, the lighting is picking up with this storm. We've also got winds ahead of it that are coming into the storm. There is some inflow into this, and we're starting to see the front of that looks like would be the shelf cloud and lightning, and perhaps even getting some of the lightning bolts not only in the storm, but we're actually seeing them behind us all the way towards Eupora. So a lot of lightning with this storm as we're watching it here just on the east side of Kilmichael. Keith?
All right, Jacob, appreciate it. Again, he is right in the thick of where this wind is coming on in. So Jacob is right there just east of Kilmichael. I know we were talking about where that Dollar General is, just east of the city of Kilmichael on 82. There is the updated scan of where we have the greatest wind potential. So that is now moving generally east and just southeast of Winona. And this does include Poplar Creek by 8:07. Again, right now it is 8 o'clock. And these communities you see on your screen right here, including Sibleytown by 8:10, the Stewart community by 8:17, Wood Springs by 8:22, as this area of activity continues moving off to the east. This will eventually get to Eupora. So heads up to those of you across western parts of Webster County. This line of storms is coming your way that has the potential for some damaging wind gusts between 40 and 60 miles per hour and some cloud-to-ground lightning. So that is where we have the fastest moving wind. The tornado warning continues. We're not looking at a good signature, one of those good couplets like Alex was mentioning, where we can just pinpoint an exact location where there's a tornado ongoing at any given time. At this point, it's very hard to tell. We're scanning in what we call radar no man's land here. The western part of our coverage area, right along I-55, the radar beam is pretty high up, generally speaking. When we're looking at low-level rotation, we are scanning at about 5,200 feet right here. And there's a lot of stuff that can happen or cannot happen in that 1 mile below where the radar beam is. So again, if you do have any reports out your way, do so safely and report them back to us at WCBI via Twitter or Facebook page. We're trying to monitor that. Also, weather at WCBI.com, also trying to monitor that as well. And again, call our newsroom. They're back there, and they can answer your phone call with a report or something like that. But right now, we are going to stay on the air until 8:30. At least because the storm continues to move to the east, and it's going to be with us here for at least another 30 minutes. We'll see how this all goes. Let's go over to our Viper computer real quick and just pop that up as my data is trying to update a little bit here. We got some, let's go over to our Viper source if we could. There we go. Okay, appreciate that. Okay. I'm waiting for some of my information to update on my end, so it's always good to have redundant sources. And I should also say we have a new thunderstorm warning. This is for Madison and Yazoo County, southwest of here. So that was what you heard on our audio there. But that is a severe thunderstorm complex here near Winona and Kilmichael. That's what we're watching out to come on in here. So it's always good to have multiple ways of getting watches and warnings and all that kind of stuff. So if you lose power, it's good to have a charged cell phone. It's also wise to have some cash on hand if you have to dart off real quick and do something. Multiple ways to get watch and warning information. Right now we are under a tornado warning situation. That information is being scrolled along the bottom of your television screen, and that is why we are on the air right now. All right, so our updated scan here with Viper shows the strongest storm cell basically over Kilmichael moving off to the east. And let's just stay with Viper real quick. Oh, there we go. I got my new data to pop back up here. So I guess let's go back over here to links 2, and we'll be able to investigate this a little bit better. I think the strongest storm as we were watching, the strongest core is down there near Durant. And that's where we have the greater hail potential along and just east of 55, where there could be some large hail, maybe quarter size or larger down that way. And as far as the wind shear, we're still getting some of that being depicted here south and east of Winona. That would be this area of red right in here, southeast of Winona right there. This is a little bit of a delayed product. This is more of a real-time product, so that is picking up on this area in southeastern parts of Montgomery County near the Poplar Springs area, Poplar Creek, and these areas, Kilmichael too. This is where we had that rash, if you remember, about a year ago. We had a rash of tornadoes that spun up with one little storm that came in from Natchez and came up through this area and produced a couple of tornadoes in this area. So we know over the last year we've had tornadoes out here, and this is exactly why we are going to stay on the air, because we could get some wind damage, if nothing else, if we don't even see one of these brief tornadoes. But that signature right here, this arcing line of green, that is an arcing line of fast-moving wind. It is bowing out from the storm, moving into Kilmichael, Poplar Springs, Poplar Creek, southeastern Montgomery County, and that is where we have the strongest chance for some damage that wind could be producing right now. Alex, what do you got?
Keith, if we can go over to Lynx One system real quick, I wanted to show our Hail Swath product, which has been sort of pegging this storm moving into Atala County at this point. You'd been talking about that storm had the stronger looking core, and you can see that product over the past few minutes, that trail of purple that it's leaving there, indicating there may be some hail in this storm. We've got our special hail radar here indicating where you see the white there, that's where the radar seems to think there could be some hail. That core may have taken a little bit of a step down over the past maybe 5 to 10 minutes, but still looks like there could be at least some small hail in that storm, as well as the strong straight line wind threat. The storm further to the north, the one that's moving into Montgomery County right now over towards Kilmichael, does not look nearly as impressive as the one further to the south as far as the reflectivity is concerned. As you pointed out, we've still got that shear rate, that arc of green that you see there extending just now. The edge of that starting to approach Kilmichael and Poplar Springs. That's where we do have a spin-up tornado threat, but the biggest threat with this is going to be strong straight-line winds. Is this something you don't want to underestimate here? Strong straight-line winds can still cause a lot of problems. It doesn't really matter if a tornado knocked over a tree or straight-line winds did it. You still got a tree down. So that's the thought process you need to have here. Now, we do have that tornado potential. National Weather Service is continuing tornado warning. It looks like they took Carroll County out of it.
Yeah, they're
going to
keep
that out.
They will keep the warning going until 8:30, though.
So the warning now just for Montgomery County, that's going to go until 8:30, so another 24 minutes or so. Ultimately, this thing's going to be continuing to push off to the north and east if it can hold together, and that's not a guarantee. Folks in western Webster County would want to keep an eye on this. Generally, along and west of Highway 9, something we'll watch, but this storm has not, it seems to maybe be on a slightly weakening trend over the past few minutes. Now, having said that, that wind threat is still there and it's still potent. So we don't want to undersell that at all. I really think we could see some pretty gusty winds out of this storm. And of course, our own Jacob Dickey had reported that power's out in Kilmichael. So obviously this storm is causing problems. Whether or not that was lightning or heavy rain or straight line winds, we don't know. But certainly a situation where we want folks basically along and south of Highway 82 and east of Winona to be in a safe place in Montgomery County, as this potential for a spin-up tornado still exists. Keith?
Yeah, and I've got a storm track on that shear rate here as we pop on over to Lynx 2, and this would take it towards Eupora by 8:34 here this evening. So let's just come on over here. You can see there's that fast-moving wind southeastern Montgomery County, Eupora right here. So like Alex was just mentioning, western parts of Webster, northwestern Choctaw, just be on guard here because you're technically not under a warning right now, but the strongest wind is now moving into southeastern parts of Montgomery County that has not been under the tornado warning. So if anything, if we're going to have an extension of this warning, it may need to be shifted east and south a little bit more so than where it is right now. But they're going to keep the warning at least until 8:30, or the National Weather Service in Jacksonville, that's the they, will keep this in play. And we'll see if we don't get a new warning here before the expiration. But we will stay on the air here. It's 8:08, and we are tracking severe weather across our area this evening. Some power outages reported across the western part of our coverage area near Kilmichael, like Jacob was saying. And the strongest storm cell looks like it could be this one now northwest of Kosciuszko, at least as far as the hail potential. That warning goes until 8:15, but I'm pretty sure we're going to be getting a new severe thunderstorm warning or something out of that part of the thunderstorm complex down there. And just as a side note here, down here north of Ridgeland, this is a new tornado warning here that is with that storm as it's approaching Canton, that is south of our area, that is in the Jackson television market. But the way these line structures work, ever so often we'll get these little kinks in these lines, and as long as we have a line like that and get those little kinks in there, we can get these brief spin-up type tornadoes. And at this point, that's the best looking possible tornado signature we have on our radar at this hour.
Yeah, Keith, that sucker means business. That storm down there. If you got some family or friends, you happen to just be watching us this evening, and you've got some friends over on the north side of Jackson, over towards Canton or Flora. This is really pushing east of Flora at this point, over towards Cobbville. Obviously, that's the Jackson television market. But if you know some folks down there, you might want to give them a call and tell them to get in a safe place, because that sucker really looks like it could drop a tornado at any second. I will point out that the storm that we're here for, this tornado-warned storm for Montgomery County, we do now have a report that has come in, a little bit of a delayed report from Holmes County, that they have multiple trees down across the county from this storm. So we know it has a history of producing damage. It does not look as impressive as it did when it was pushing through Holmes County. It had its act together a little bit better here. Now, I say that the radar, we're looking pretty far up in the storm at this point, but it does not look quite as pretty as it did then as far as the radar presentation is concerned. Now, we still have the potential for some strong straight line winds in this. We can't rule out a spin-up tornado, but it does seem to, at least since it pushed through Holmes County, be in a bit of a weakening phase. And what we may be seeing is that the environment is better generally south of Highway 82 for these severe storms, and as they lift north of 82, that they may struggle a little bit more.
Well, and it looks like we have an extension of this tornado warning now into northwestern and western Choctaw, or western Webster County at this point. We have a new tornado warning now for western Webster until 9:15. Again, so this Doppler radar indicated rotation that we've been following with that wind shear now shifting east of Montgomery County and approaching western Webster County. So this new tornado warning includes the following communities: Eupora, areas really all of western Webster County, including Eupora, Waldo, and all these points out to western Webster County. And you know, it's kind of hilly out here, pretty rural. You may not be able to see much. There could be some wind damage with some of these wind gusts as it comes on in here. So this warning goes until 9:15, and just be aware that even areas that are not currently warned with anything, that does include French Camp and areas down here in western parts of Choctaw County, you too may see some very strong wind here. There's actually a special weather statement that just came out for these areas too. So all areas may see some wind gusts over 40 to 50 miles per hour, but again, we need 58 miles per hour threshold for a severe thunderstorm warning. Let's go back to our shear rate, and I'm going to do another timestamp for you here. This is where, if there's going to be a spin-up type tornado, it is going to be somewhere in here. But right now, just looking at our radar trend, there's the updated scan. This looks more like a straight line wind threat. All right, so we'll just track this out at about 45 miles per hour. And again, this does include the new tornado warning for parts of Webster County that goes until 9:15. So this does include Stewart by 8:18. Right now, it is 8:13, so basically on your doorstep right now. By 8:33, Eupora, and then points east of Eupora after that. So just be aware, the storm is tracking right along 82, Highway 82 corridor, and that's why we have meteorologist Jacob Dickey out there trying to stay out ahead of it. So we keep getting them and then losing them with our feed here at the station, but we'll go back to him with some reports when we get it. But basically, east of Kilmichael, between Kilmichael and Eupora, along 82, a couple miles north and south of 82, somewhere in that swath right there. This is where you need to be taking precautions for a possible tornado. If not a tornado, definitely the chance for some very fast-moving wind, 40 to 60 miles per hour. and that could cause some wind damage, some power outages, and that can really rock your world if you get in one of those fast-moving wind gusts here. You do not need an actual tornado to cause some serious damage, and we may see more of a straight-line wind situation with that. As far as the hail threat is concerned, that is down here farther to the south, and actually looks like we're probably getting some pretty large hail there north of Kosciuszko. It looks like we have a bit of a hail spike or something going on there with our radar imagery. So pretty good odds of hail north of Kosciuszko here with the southern part of the storm complex, where too there's actually some wind shear going on, but that's more let's just say a hail threat at this point. That's where the greatest concentration of lightning is. So taller storm, better lightning, better chance for hail down here. As Alex was mentioning with our hail radar here earlier, you can really see, let me turn the lightning off, near the Hesterville community right there in Atala County. That's where there's likely some large hail there ongoing. I don't really see any large hail signature here with the northern part of the storm cell. As that moves into Webster County, this looks like it's going to be more of a wind-driven rain type event here. Let's go to our shear rate. And again, we are still scanning here about 6,200 feet. I'm going to go to our Columbus radar site, and we are scanning at about 5,800 to 6,000 feet too. Okay, so we got Jacob live in the field. Let's go to Jacob out there. What do you got?
Hey, Keith, we are still on the east side of Kilmichael here. The rain came down very fast. We got some gusty winds in front of it here. People are slowing down on US 82 because the visibility has been reduced for a while. Not sure how well you can see on the stream here. Rain has let up just a little bit. We're going to end up going east back towards Eupora and kind of keep our eyes on this storm, but also watching those storms to the south by Kosciuszko. The power still, again, is out in Kilmichael. We haven't heard anything. We've been texting some people locally here to find out information. No reports of damage that we have heard yet, but we'll still have to wait and see what happens in this area. So that's what we'll be doing. A lot of rain, of course, and so if you're out in the rain, one thing to consider, make sure you don't hydroplane, and just be staying weather aware tonight, Keith.
Appreciate it, Jacob. Yes, indeed. Stay weather aware. That is what you need to be doing tonight because we have this Doppler radar indicated tornado warning. We have, as Jacob was just mentioning, is east of Kilmichael right here at the onset of that rain, probably near Stewart. And he's trying to stay out ahead of it here and track back towards Eupora. So western Webster, northwestern parts of Choctaw, and southeastern parts of Montgomery County really seeing the brunt of the storm cell right now. And I've swapped our radar site up to Columbus, and we're scanning still pretty high up in the storm, but we're getting some of this purple and even some of that black there in Atala County. So that's illustrating where we have the best hail potential in the purple. And obviously the brighter colors illustrate where the rain is heaviest. We've had no confirmation as of right now as far as a confirmed tornado in our area. We're working to see exactly what's been ongoing across the western counties. Our newsroom is working on that. Jacob is as well. We will report that information as we get it. But at this point, we just want to make you aware that these areas outlined in the yellow, that does include Lowndes County, Oktibbeha County, Clay, Chickasaw, Monroe, Lee, Itawamba, Pontotoc, Calhoun, Webster, Choctaw, Winston. You remain under this tornado watch until 11 o'clock this evening. We will start to trim off some of these counties here shortly once the storm complex continues to move east. But that is why we are monitoring the weather here right now. We're here on WCBI TV. We're also doing a little simulcast on our Facebook account as well. And we're just trying to make sure we get the information out there. So it's always wise to have multiple ways of getting some watches and warning type information to you. We were notified earlier this evening that the NOAA weather radio transmitter up in Aberdeen was acting kind of flaky and may or may not be off the air still at this time. So weather radio, apps, television, social media, you got it. Those are the ways to stay up on this situation tonight, because it's bad enough to have some of this breaking weather develop, especially here at night. And again, we apologize for covering up some of our programming here on WCBI tonight, but we really want to make sure we get everybody informed and staying safe here tonight. We're after dark, very rural territory out west where there's some hills, there's a lot of woods, and you may not be able to see much of the storm before it comes on in. I'm going to pop back on the lightning, and this tells another story where more of the lightning down here across that southern part north of Kosciuszko, that's with a taller cloud top, a taller storm. Not as much cloud-to-ground lightning across the northern part of this complex here. That is actually tornado-warned storm, the tornado-warned aspect of the storm. Alex?
Yeah, well, it looks like we're getting that comma head kind of development. We get this from time to time. If we could take the Lynx 1 system full. Thank you. I'll sort of show you what I'm talking about in the radar signature here. Just follow along as I use my poor artistic skills to sort of show you where we've got that comma head shape. What we have going on here is sort of a small-scale, low-pressure system developing, and this is going to sort of drive this storm as it continues to push off to the north and east. When we get signatures like this, the biggest threat is always strong straight-line winds. Having said that, we also have a spin-up tornado threat when we get a signature like this on the radar. So we will continue to watch this. That's why probably we're continuing to see these tornado warnings issued and extended. The velocity product is, to be quite frank, not all that impressive. We've got some bright reds, we've got some greens. They're not particularly close together, but we could produce a quick spin-up tornado. It looks like the best chance for that right now is still in Montgomery County, but we do still have the tornado warning in effect for Webster County. I will say, if you happen to be watching us on Facebook or something, you've pulled off the road, nobody needs to be driving on State Highway 9 in Webster County or State Highway 404 in Webster or Montgomery counties, and we don't really want anybody driving on Highway 82 between Winona and Mabin. At this point, is driving's just really not something you want to be doing in something like this. Even if there's no tornado, the high winds, the heavy rain makes things incredibly dangerous. I will point out, and we mentioned this a little bit earlier, the situation down to our south, north of Jackson, over just to the north of Canton, we've got a very impressive-looking storm down there that will be capable of producing a tornado. If that can hold together, for those of you who watch us over in Leake County, if it can hold together, would move into Leake County probably north. It would probably stay north of Carthage and north of 25. It might clip 25 towards the end of the county, but something we'll keep an eye on as that continues to move off to the north and east. That looks like the most impressive storm in the state right now. The reason we're here is for the northern end of this thing, and again, it's for that comma head shape that you see there. That's what's prompting these tornado warnings. You see a lot of lightning, some high reflectivity returns, certainly the potential for some hail back down into northern Atala, southern Montgomery County, towards the county line there. And that's going to be approaching French Camp here in the next few minutes, and that's going to be kind of rough weather and rough going there. There's no warning that I can see in effect for that at this point. Certainly the potential for some hail in that, where you see the white. I'm going to take the lightning off here so you can see things a little bit better. Where you see the white on the radar there, that's hail, or at least what the radar believes is probably hail. We can look at some of the other products that we can use to picture to figure that out. We've got some slight lowerings there in the correlation coefficient. That typically means where you see those greens and yellows that there may be something going on hail-wise there. We'll look at a couple other products, and this is really showing it really well. This is something we don't show often on television, but I'm going to circle it for you here, where you see those blues and grays. This is what we call differential reflectivity. It's one of the newer products we have with the dual pole upgrades of these radars. Where you see those blues and grays, that's the radar seeing hail. Now, as we've been talking about, it's looking pretty high up in the storm. There's a potential that it is melting before it makes it to the ground, but I can guarantee you there's some hail somewhere in the upper elevations of that storm in southern Montgomery, northern Atala counties. So if you're watching this there, probably some rough weather heading your way, and that does match up well with some really high, what we call reflectivity returns, where that's the rain. But when you see those purples and blacks showing up, that's typically hail more often than not when we get reflectivity returns like that. Typically you start to see hail around the 60 dBz range, and we're pushing 70 in that strong core north of Shady Grove. Now the reason we are here is for the tornado warning for Montgomery and Webster counties, and again, it's going to be that sort of, it looks like a comma head, and that's what we call it. It's a comma head signature, and you can see the look right there, and we could see a quick spin up somewhere along that sort of comma head shape. That's why we've got this warning in place for Webster and in Montgomery counties. The Montgomery County warning will be potentially expiring here in 7 minutes. I have not seen if they decided to try and extend the time on that. We'll see what they do.